The old joke slipped out before I even thought about it. We had been helping our friends clean up after a long day of decorating for another wedding, exhausted, covered in bits of ribbon and glitter, laughing harder than either of us had laughed in months. I pointed at my best friend with a grin and casually called her my wife, expecting the same playful eye roll she had given me 100 times before. Instead, her cheeks turned bright red, her smile trembled, and she lowered her eyes. A moment later, she leaned closer and quietly admitted that she would actually love that. In that single heartbeat, everything I believed about friendship, love, and the future changed forever. Before we continue this emotional journey, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment telling us where you're watching from, share this story with someone you care about, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness for more unforgettable stories about love, hope, and second chances. Your support helps these stories reach hearts all around the world. For years, Emma had been the one constant in my unpredictable life. We met during our first week of college when both of us accidentally showed up to the wrong classroom. While everyone else laughed at our mistake, we laughed together, and somehow that laughter became the beginning of a friendship that survived graduation, career changes, heartbreaks, family struggles, and every unexpected twist life placed in front of us. She celebrated every success I achieved as if it were her own, and she quietly carried me through every failure without ever asking for recognition. I thought I understood exactly what she meant to me. I simply never realized that what I called friendship had slowly grown into something much deeper. Life had not been kind to either of us. My parents divorced after decades together, leaving me convinced that lasting love only existed in old movies. Emma lost her mother to illness, and afterward she built invisible walls around her heart. We became experts at pretending we were perfectly happy being alone. Whenever relatives asked why we were still single, we laughed, changed the subject, and promised that someday the right person would appear. Secretly, both of us had stopped believing that promise. Looking back, the signs had always been there. She remembered every important date in my life without needing reminders. She brought homemade soup whenever I caught a cold, even if it meant driving across town after working an exhausting shift. When I received a promotion, she surprised me with my favorite chocolate cake. When I lost my job months later, she quietly filled my refrigerator with groceries because she knew my pride would never let me ask for help. I convinced myself that this was simply what best friends did. My heart refused to consider any other possibility because I was terrified of ruining the most important relationship I already had. Her unexpected confession echoed in my mind long after we left the wedding venue. Every memory suddenly looked different. Every smile, every comforting hug, every late-night phone call carried a meaning I had been too blind to notice. I wanted to call her immediately, yet fear stopped me. What if I misunderstood? What if I answered too quickly and destroyed the beautiful friendship we had spent years building? For the first time in my life, silence felt heavier than words. The following days became strangely difficult. We still met for coffee, still exchanged funny messages, and still walked through the city park every Sunday afternoon, yet something invisible had changed between us. The comfortable silence we once shared now carried nervous anticipation. Every accidental touch made my heart race. Every glance lingered just a little longer than before. I realized I was no longer imagining life without her because every future I pictured somehow included her standing beside me. One rainy evening, the power went out across my neighborhood. Without hesitation, Emma arrived carrying candles, blankets, and takeout from our favorite little restaurant. We sat near the living room window, watching lightning paint the sky while soft rain tapped against the glass. The darkness outside somehow made everything inside feel honest. We spoke about childhood dreams, forgotten fears, and the loneliness we had both hidden behind cheerful smiles. It became painfully clear that while we had searched everywhere for someone who truly understood us, that person had been sitting beside us for years. That night I finally admitted the truth to myself. I had mistaken comfort for ordinary friendship because genuine love had never felt dramatic or overwhelming. It had quietly appeared through thousands of small acts of kindness. It lived inside every encouraging message, every shared meal, every sacrifice neither of us talked about, and every promise silently kept. Real love had not arrived like a storm. It had grown like a tree, slowly extending its roots until it became impossible to imagine life without its shade. Months later, our friends gathered again for another wedding, this time as guests instead of helpers. Someone jokingly asked when it would finally be our turn. We looked at each other, smiled with complete certainty, and realized neither of us felt embarrassed anymore. The future that once frightened us now felt peaceful because we had discovered that the safest place in the world was not a house or a city. It was the heart of someone who had chosen you every single day without asking for anything in return. Special request: before this story ends, tell us in the comments, do you believe the strongest marriages begin as true friendships? We'd genuinely love to read your thoughts. Our journey reminded us that second chances are not always about meeting someone new. Sometimes they come disguised as the person who has quietly stood beside you through every season of life. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone special, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness. Your support allows us to continue sharing stories that remind the world kindness, patience, and genuine love still exist. And if you already have someone who feels like both your best friend and your greatest blessing, never wait too long to let them know. Some of life's happiest endings begin with a simple joke that unexpectedly reveals the deepest truth.